Once upon a time, in a small, tight-knit village, nestled at the foot of a lush, verdant mountain range, there lived a community of people who were known far and wide for their strong moral and ethical values. They were a humble, hard-working people who took great pride in their adherence to the principles that guided their daily lives. At the heart of these principles was a deep respect for the sanctity of marriage and the privacy of their homes. The village had a long-standing tradition of upholding the moral and ethical code that dictated all matters of intimacy should be reserved for the sacred confines of one's own home. This code was not only a symbol of their commitment to one another, but also a reflection of their devotion to the values that held their community together. One fateful day, a mysterious traveler arrived in the village, a man who seemed to embody the very spirit of adventure and freedom. He was a charismatic figure with a captivating smile and a mischievous twinkle in his eye. As he wandered through the village, he encountered a group of young villagers who were engaged in a heated debate about the nature of morality and ethics. Intrigued by their discourse, the traveler decided to share a tale from his own experiences, a story that would challenge their understanding of the world and their own beliefs. The traveler began by recounting his visit to a far-off land where people embraced a radically different perspective on intimacy and personal freedom. In this distant place, it was not uncommon for people to engage in acts of love and passion in the open, under the warm embrace of the sun and the stars. As the villagers listened to the traveler's tale, they were both shocked and intrigued by the idea of public displays of affection. They had never before considered that there might be alternative ways of understanding and experiencing intimacy. The traveler continued his story, explaining that in this far-off land, the people believed that love and passion were elemental forces that should be celebrated openly and without shame. They saw no contradiction between their deep respect for one another and their willingness to express their love in the open. In fact, they believed that their openness and acceptance of public displays of affection only served to strengthen their bonds and foster a sense of unity within their community. As the villagers listened to the traveler's tale, they found themselves questioning their own beliefs and the rigid moral code that had governed their lives for generations. Was it possible, they wondered, that their understanding of intimacy and morality was not the only one? Could it be that the freedom and openness of the distant land's people were not a sign of moral decay, but rather a reflection of a different yet equally valid perspective on love and human connection? These thoughts stirred a sense of unease among the villagers as they grappled with the realization that their way of life was not the only way. Yet, as they continued to listen to the traveler's story, they also felt a spark of curiosity and even excitement at the prospect of new possibilities. The traveler, sensing their growing curiosity, decided to share more of his experiences. He spoke of the beautiful natural settings in which people from all walks of life would come together to celebrate their love in the open, without shame or fear of judgment. He described the laughter and the music that filled the air, the joyous celebration of life and love that was an integral part of their culture. As the villagers listened, they found themselves drawn into the traveler's world, their imaginations fueled by the vivid descriptions of a place where love and passion were not confined to the shadows, but were embraced as essential elements of the human experience. But the traveler's tale was not without its challenges. He spoke of the difficulties faced by the people of this distant land as they struggled to overcome the prejudices and misconceptions of those who did not understand their way of life. He told of the discrimination and even violence that had been inflicted upon those who dared to express their love openly, and the courage and resilience that they had shown in the face of such adversity. The villagers, moved by the traveler's story, began to reflect on their own beliefs and the ways in which they had shaped their community. They realized that, while their moral code had served them well, it had also limited their understanding of the world and the diverse ways in which people could express their love and devotion to one another. As the sun began to set on that fateful day, the traveler's words continued to resonate in the minds of the villagers. They found themselves grappling with the implications of his tale and the possibility that their long-held beliefs about the sanctity of intimacy and the moral code that governed their lives might not be as absolute as they had once thought. Over the following days, the villagers engaged in fierce debates, discussing the merits of public displays of affection and the idea of embracing a more open and accepting attitude towards love and intimacy. Some were resistant to change, clinging to the familiarity of their existing beliefs, while others began to see the potential for growth and transformation in the face of new ideas. One of the village elders, a wise and respected woman named Martha, decided to share her own experiences with her fellow villagers. She recounted a time when she had been young and in love, and how she and her sweetheart had shared a passionate embrace in the moonlit meadow. The memory was a precious one, filled with love and tenderness, and she could not help but wonder if the joy they had experienced in that moment would have been any less had they been in the privacy of their own home. As the villagers listened to Martha's story, they began to see the world through new eyes, their hearts opening to the possibility that love and intimacy could be celebrated in many different ways. They started to understand that the expressions of love and passion they had once viewed with fear and suspicion might, in fact, be a natural and beautiful part of the human experience. In time, the village began to change. Couples, emboldened by the travelers' words and the stories shared by their fellow villagers, began to explore the possibility of expressing their love in more public ways. They discovered that the act of sharing their love and passion in the open did not diminish its significance, but rather deepened their connections and strengthened their bonds. The village itself became a place of greater understanding and acceptance, as the people learned to appreciate the diverse ways in which love and intimacy could be expressed. They found that their community was not weakened by their new openness, but rather strengthened and enriched by the celebration of love in all its forms. As the years went by, the village's transformation became a testament to the power of love and the importance of embracing new perspectives.
Please subscribe to my channel Lessons of Life and press the bell notification icon.